Hello friends, welcome back to Page Chewing, and welcome to the first discussion for All the Pretty Horses. This is the first part. I believe there's 3 or 4 parts in the first book. And I did forget that Cormac McCarthy, as far as I know, usually does parts, doesn't really do chapters, so works out good for this format. I planned to release this episode last Wednesday, that was my schedule, but I was really sick last week, and things have not been too good, so I am very late on this recording. But let's get started to talk about All the Pretty Horses, part 1. So my context with this, with McCarthy, I've read The Road, I've read Blood Meridian, and Child of God, and all those books had a very distinct kind of rhythm to them. They had a very distinct writing style, especially The Road. It's very, and I'm not smart enough to know how to describe it. If anybody knows how to do this, please let me know, and I'd love to talk to you about it. But it is very short. The dialogue is very quick. It's very just kind of abrupt. It has a different kind of rhythm to the prose. And Blood Meridian does too. Blood Meridian has a very different kind of flow to it. It doesn't really flow. And it kind of, for me anyway, it took me a little bit to adjust to my reading style to reading something like Blood Meridian or even The Road. So All the Pretty Horses, I didn't realize that this was a movie. I've never seen the movie. I didn't know it was a movie until now. So maybe after we finish the trilogy, we can go back and talk about the movie. But immediately, this book, the first few lines of the book really pulled me in with the flame of the candle kind of dancing around. And it really gives you a very clear picture of the setting that you're in and kind of the mood and the atmosphere. Very little words. It has a way of bringing you into it. This is based in 1949, and it's a very kind of transitional time for the country and for this part of the country specifically, with South Texas and the ranch kind of the ranch hands and the ranch and that whole industry. And not that it didn't thrive past that time period; it still was there, but it's a different phase with people not holding on to farms that they have owned for, family farms that they've owned. They're selling the farm off. And our main character so far anyway is John Grady, who wants to continue the family tradition, but of course his mom has other ideas after his father passes away. What I really liked about this, another thing that really brought me into the dialogue, brings you into kind of that very matter of fact kind of style that they have, very not very dramatic. One of the things that stuck out to me is the conversation about, when John's talking about the girl he was dating, and, well, did you quit her or did she quit you? And he says, I don't know. And the response was, she quit you. It's a very kind of droll and dry, kind of very matter of fact, like I said, in the dialogue, which I really enjoy. Kind of the banter back and forth. That's one thing that this is kind of new to me with McCarthy in this book, is the banter back and forth with the different characters, the teasing that Lacey Rollins, who's along with him for the ride to try and find work in South Texas and Mexico, trying to find work as a ranch hand somewhere, and that whole journey. There's something about the Old West and trips and just kind of journeys like this that just are really fascinating to me. I love those kind of stories with, traveling by horseback and all the different obstacles and dangers of the West and this kind of lawless area and these kind of pockets of people that exist along the way on their journey. And I did wonder if the hospitality that they encounter with, being offered food and shelter by some people was that hospitality, or was it out of being caring and looking out for them on their journey because they are younger, or is it out of fear that if these families who are kind of just minding their own business, if they just let them pass through, or if they don't offer something, if they're in fear of being killed or robbed, or so I did wonder that if that's just because they're friendly people, or is it because they're afraid? Either way, they've gotten lots of help in this first part, and they've also gotten another person on their journey, who is Jeremy Blevins, who is a very unique character. He's younger. He's kind of more predictable. And I like that he kind of acts out. He's kind of a show off. He has this very he's very talented with his firearms, and he blows a hole through the wallet. I thought that was another great sequence there. And none of this is really just, all of it is just kind of, I don't want to say slice of life, but it's very just people talking and kind of experiencing this journey together, which, I really enjoyed. I was surprised how interested I was in the journey and the kind of the start of this kind of, and we know based on past stories and past McCarthy stories that things are not going to go well for most, if not all, of the characters. There's going to be a lot more that they experience, of course, but so far that the kind of this youthful kind of desire to find something and to travel and to experience new things in the Old West, or the older West, I guess. This isn't like the early 1900s, but it still feels like a lawless area, like it's full of danger, and there's really not a whole lot of help if you need help. So you kind of are on your own, and anything can happen to you, and no one may find you, maybe ever. There's lots of danger. So all of that was, excuse me, all of that was very intriguing to me. It really, really drew me in. I really enjoyed the setup. McCarthy has a way, like I said, of setting up the atmosphere in a room even, and it really just kind of illuminates the whole scene, at least for me in my head, when I visualize what the room looks like, what the people are dressed in, what the kind of the mood is. It's very, very clear to me when I read this first part. So yeah, I mean, so far I'm loving the first part of this book. I wanted to continue, but I didn't want to go further without recording this first. I don't want to be influenced about what happens later. But I'm going to be continuing part 2. We do have a discussion planned in a few weeks with a few of our forum members to discuss the whole first book. So if you would like to come and discuss part 2 with me, or you have any comments about part 2 or part 1 or part 2 or any part that you'd like to talk with us about, please check out our forum. You can also send me a message directly with the link below in the description. Send me a message, or you can send a DM to me on the forum to have our discussions there. You can find that on pagechewing.com. It's our front page blog, and we have reviews and other stuff there. And you can also click on visit our forums and register for an account there to come and talk about all the pretty horses. It's the title. I'm not sure exactly how the title ties into the book yet. And that's one of the things I really like to do, is when you find out what the title means and how it ties into the rest of the book, if it's not completely obvious at first. I do want to find out what the title means, and kind of have an idea, but not too clear yet. But this is kind of a short clip. It's not very long, not very good for a podcast, I guess, because podcasts are usually longer form content. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot more other than that to say that I'm just loving this first part, and I'm really glad I'm reading this series. And it just feels good to be reading McCarthy again. And it's kind of, I read a lot of books, and when you read someone like McCarthy, you start to really notice the difference in quality. And that's not a slight at anyone. It just is. I mean, there's certain authors you read that just immediately pull you in with their skill and their craft that you just don't get many other places. There's not that many authors like someone of McCarthy's status who can do that. So it is a very it's a fun experience to read something so well crafted, that is just so well put together, with so many defined characters, with such great banter back and forth, with just like I said, all the different environments, and really the setting is set up for you. So yeah, it's just perfect. It's great. So I'm really enjoying the first part. So like I said, if you'd like to join me for the rest, please let us know on the forum. We do have a discussion planned in a few weeks for the final book, or for the entire book. And then I will be continuing on with each part after that. This is the first time I've done kind of a part by part breakdown of any book that I'm reading. And so I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we're going to give it a shot. If you aren't a fan, or you are a fan, let me know. And maybe for book 2, we'll just do a final book discussion and skip the part by part breakdown. But I thought if someone's reading along, maybe it'd be a fun companion piece for you if you are reading along with me in this journey. So the next episode will be back on next Wednesday, and every Wednesday following that. So that's my plan. Hopefully I can stick to it. But thanks everyone for listening. And like I said, you can reach me, and all the links are down below in the description. Be sure and check those out. And until next time, enjoy your reading, and we will see you to discuss, well, we will hear you, you'll hear me, to discuss part 2 of All the Pretty Horses. Thanks for listening.